There once was a man who got diagnosed with UC, told it was incurable, which hurt like the third degree. The only option was to take the doctor's pills, but his UC symptoms wouldn't chill. So he thought these weren't for him, so he told the doctor to shove them somewhere grim. He went on a quest to finally put his UC symptoms to rest. He learned so many things, and he put them in this 3-step plan, because it isn't over till the fat lady sings. So with this 3-step plan, it came down to when I was in hospital in January 2023. This was the worst flare I've ever had in my life. And I thought, if I do not find the solution to healing my UC naturally, then there was only 2 options. 1, be on medication for the rest of my life and be miserable, pissed off, and just basically like my whole existence would have just been shit, because that's not what I wanted. Then the other option was to have my large colon removed, because this is what the doctor was saying. And both of these to me just did not seem the right solution. So I researched and I learned things, and I figured out that healing UC is easier than playing Russian roulette with all these medications. Now, if you're probably watching this, you're probably in the same position where you've taken medication and they've not worked, and you've tried certain protocols or diets and they've not worked. Now, I get it, and it's very frustrating, because when you first get diagnosed, you're told it's incurable. Then you see this information out there saying you can cure it. And then you try all these different things and you end up in the same situation, which is back in a flare and back on medication. Now, I am here to tell you I've been in clinical remission now for 22 months. It is in the top link in the description. It is my course that goes into everything that you need to heal. But in this video, I'm going to give you the 3 steps that if you follow, then you're most likely going to help you get into remission. Now, where do we start? We always start at the beginning. There's no point starting halfway through or at the end, because it's just not going to get you where you need to be. So what happened when you got diagnosed? What was it that was the trigger or the thing that was around that event that seemed to put you into a flare? Now, once you figured that out, you're at least 10% of the way there to actually healing your UC. But that wasn't all that helped me along my healing journey. And through years and years of trial and error, I discovered that there was always 3 things that helped me the most when it came to healing my UC. I put them in this step-by-step way. So which one's first, which one's second, which one's first, because I believe this is the best way to heal. So the first one is you want to basically find out what was the trigger, reduce the amount of stress. So say if it was a stressful situation or it was an upsetting situation, it could have been anything like that. This is going to be the trigger that's caused your symptoms. So you need to think about that and wondering, how can you reduce that stress? How can you reduce the upset? Because if you don't, it doesn't matter how much you decide to change your diet and things like that. If you are constantly replaying that same thing over and over and over again, it's going to cause symptoms. So that's the first step. The second step is to remove everything that can irritate. So that could be fiber, sugar, processed junk, and you want to be going down to a meat-based diet. Now, I've been doing that for the last 22 months and I made many different mistakes. And this is the protocol that I advise people to do. So obviously, top link in the description if you want to know how to use the carnivore diet to actually help you heal your UC. And then step 3 is how you can start reintroducing things back into your diet. Because when you have a flare, one of the most common things that people do is blame the food that they're eating. So they'll eat a piece of food, and because something's gone off that day and they get triggered, get symptoms, they automatically blame it on the food. Now, sometimes it is the food because you may be a little bit allergic, but most of the time it's not actually the food. So we create this thing around food that we think, oh, this is dangerous, we can't eat that. So then every time we think about eating it, that's when we have symptoms. So we need to get actually reintroducing foods back into your diet so then you can live a healthy and normal life. Now, why does this approach work? Because it's getting to the root cause. So we found out what the root cause of the whole actual flare up was. Then we've got down to removing all the foods. So it means that we can give our bowels time to rest and time to heal, because all we're eating is the most nutrient dense like foods on the planet, which help heal your bowels. And then step 3 is obviously you want to start introducing other foods back into your diet, because at the end of the day, you don't have to stay carnivore for the rest of life. Now, do I recommend it? Yeah, because at the end of the day, it removes all them horrible shits like sugar, like processed foods, like seed oils. We weren't designed to eat all this crap. We were designed to eat carnivore. But if you want to eat that stuff, at least then you know you've got the knowledge to know that you can. So for me, this was the main 3 things that I noticed to help me heal the most. Now, why do other like diets or protocols seem to fail? Because they only focus on one thing. So when I first started the carnivore diet, I actually failed loads because I didn't do it correctly. So I just followed everyone else's advice. Oh, you only just need to eat meat. Only just need to eat meat. Well, that did not work for me with my UC. And there's a lot more different nuances to make sure that you are getting the right sort of meats, making sure you're getting the meats that actually heal your gut lining and then create a better gut microbiome. But it never gave me the full story of how to actually heal. Then I looked into more of the mindset and more of the things like that. Then I found out about German New Medicine. German New Medicine helps with getting over triggers and food triggers. But if I was still eating food that were triggering, even if I kind of found the conflict that was going off, I still have a bit of irritation. So I was like, no, that can't be just a single thing. And then when it comes to obviously micronutrients and adding different foods in, every time I'd go and add a different food back in to try and get the micronutrients to make sure I felt good, I'd end up triggering and then having to go back to just eating boring, bland crap. So all 3 of these, if you get them in the correct way, then you will heal your UC. And as a little bit of a bonus, step 4 is exercise. Making sure that you do not stop some sort of bodyweight training or weight training, because this here helps your body to actually heal. It also helps to keep you strong, fit, and not fatigued, because at the end of the day, when you're in a massive flare and you're going to toilet like 20 to 25 times a day and you're not doing it, you very, very quickly become very weak, tired, drained, fatigued. Everything about it just seems to just basically shut down your body, and before long you're there and you're barely able to do anything. So it's not some magical thing. These things here are very simple, but they're very effective. So don't think that something has to be very elaborate and this and other to get healed. It's very simple. You go back to how we used to live prehistorically. Reducing stress, get rid of conflicts, eat the most nutrient-dense things on the planet, make sure we're having a very diverse nutrient balance of food so then we can thrive, and being active and getting back out there, lifting weights and just being very physically fit. And that's it for today, guys. Let me know in the comments below if there is something that someone has told you that seemed very crazy and wacky, like I got told to drink friggin' fermented cabbage juice, which absolutely destroyed my bowels. So put it in the comments below and I'll see you again soon.